The beam of blue light from the ship spread wider, soft and warm, as if it carried the touch of 1,000 gentle hands. The forest glowed like a dream. Evan held Lumi close, feeling the tiny alien child growing weaker in his arms. Lumi's eyes were closed, its glow almost gone. Figures stepped slowly out of the beam-tall, graceful beings with silver-blue skin and glowing patterns along their bodies. Their movements were smooth, almost floating. They looked like shadows made of light. One of them knelt in front of Evan. Their face was calm but full of sadness. They reached out and placed a long, delicate hand over Lumi's body. Evan held his breath. "Please, help it," he whispered, voice shaking. The alien rescuer nodded, their eyes gentle. They touched Lumi's forehead, and a soft ripple of light flowed into the small child's body. Lumi's chest rose slightly. The glow brightened for a moment. Evan felt hope spark inside him. The rescuer lifted Lumi carefully from Evan's arms. Lumi let out a weak hum, a familiar sound, the same sound it made when it felt safe. Evan wiped his eyes. Is Lumi going to live? The alien rescuer looked into his eyes, and though they did not speak his language, Evan felt the answer. Lumi was alive but very weak. It needed its own people now, its own technology, its own energy, its own home. Another alien stepped forward. This one held a small device that glowed softly. They pressed it gently against Evan's chest. A warm pulse spread through him. Suddenly, images filled his mind, not words, but feelings, gratitude, respect, honor. They were thanking him. Evan breathed out, overwhelmed. "I just did what anyone would do." But the aliens shook their heads slowly. They knew the truth. Not everyone would risk their life for a creature they didn't understand. Not everyone would protect a child from soldiers, drones, and fear. Evan had chosen compassion when the world chose panic. Lumi, now held in the rescuer's arms, opened its eyes halfway. The tiny alien looked at Evan and lifted a weak hand. Evan reached forward, touching Lumi's glowing fingers gently. A warm spark passed between them. A goodbye. A memory. A promise. A bond that would never break. The rescuer stepped into the beam of light, holding Lumi close. The child made a soft sound, small and uncertain, but no longer afraid. It knew it was going home. The other aliens surrounded Evan for a moment. They bowed their heads, a sign of deep respect. Then they stepped back into the beam. Above them, the massive ship hummed quietly, ready to leave. But something unexpected happened. A small section of the ship opened, and a glowing cube floated down. It stopped right in front of Evan. He reached out slowly and took it into his hands. The cube was warm, bright, and filled with symbols that shifted like water. He didn't know what it was, but he understood the message. A gift. A message. A connection between two worlds. The beam of light grew brighter. The air vibrated. Leaves floated upward as if gravity itself had forgotten its duty. The rescuers rose slowly into the air, carrying Lumi with them. Evan took one step forward, wanting to follow, but he stopped. Lumi looked at him one last time, eyes full of light and emotion. And in that silent moment, Evan understood. Lumi was safe. Lumi would live. And Lumi would never forget him. The beam snapped back into the ship like a thread of light being pulled away. The ship rose higher and higher, its silver surface glowing brighter with every second. Then it shot upward with a soft, powerful hum, disappearing into the night. Sky like a star returning home. The forest fell silent again. The soldiers who had been frozen in the beam slowly regained movement. Their drones lay dead on the ground. Their scanners showed nothing. Their radios produced only static. They had witnessed something no human could explain, but they had no proof, no signal, no way to trace what had happened. Evan stepped out of the clearing, holding the glowing cube close to his chest. His clothes were torn, his legs were shaking, but his heart was calm. Back in his home, he sat on the couch, the same place where Lumi had first slept under a blanket. The cube glowed softly in his hands. When he touched it, a tiny image appeared, a silver blue light shaped like Lumi. Smiling, Evan smiled back, tears in his eyes. "Take care, little one," he whispered. And for the first time since Lumi fell from the sky, the house felt quiet. But not empty, because compassion had formed a bridge between two worlds. And Evan knew this was only the beginning of a much bigger story, one where humanity would be remembered not for fear, but for kindness. Evan pushed through bushes and ran between large trees. Lumi peeked out from under the blanket. Its small hand reached toward the sky and glowed faintly. "No, Lumi," Evan whispered. "Don't glow. They'll see you." Lumi quickly pulled its hand back and hid. But then something strange happened. A soft pulse of light spread from Lumi's body, just for a second. Evan didn't understand what it meant until he saw the drone above them suddenly spin in confusion. Its sensors flickered. Its red light blinked randomly. It lost its tracking ability. Evan stared. "Lumi, did you do that?" The alien child made a tiny hum. Its glow pulsed in a slow rhythm. It was trying to help. The drone drifted away for a moment, but the soldiers were getting closer. Evan could hear their boots hitting the ground. Flashlights danced between the trees. He needed to hide fast. He found a fallen tree with a hollow space underneath, just big enough for him and Lumi. He crawled inside, holding the alien close. The blanket hid Lumi's glow completely. The soldiers' flashlights passed only a few steps away. Evan held his breath. Lumi held onto his shirt tightly. They stayed completely still. One soldier stopped right in front of their hiding place. Evan felt his heart stop. He could hear the soldier breathing. He could see the shadow of the gun. "Please don't look down. Please don't look down." After a long moment, the soldier moved away. Evan let out a quiet breath. Lumi relaxed a little but still trembled. But their safety didn't last long. Above the trees, multiple drones gathered. Their lights blinked in a pattern. They were scanning the entire area. Evan knew he couldn't stay in one place anymore. "We have to keep moving," he whispered. He crawled out from under the fallen tree and lifted Lumi again. His arms were tired, but he didn't stop. Trees surrounded them like tall guards. The wind grew colder. The forest seemed endless. Evan kept walking, even though he didn't know where he was going. Then Lumi touched his chest again. Its glow became warm, calm, steady. It was trying to give him strength, but before Evan could say anything, another drone spotted movement nearby and sent out a loud alarm signal. The forest exploded with noise. Soldiers shouted. Drones dove downward. Lights flashed everywhere. Evan ran, gripping Lumi tightly. Branches scratched his arms. His breath burned in his throat. Lumi's glow brightened and dimmed in fear. They reached a stream and splashed across it, hoping to confuse the sensors. But the drones followed. One drone flew so close that Evan could see his own terrified reflection in its metal body. He shielded Lumi with his arms, shouting, "Leave us alone." The drones scanned them, and then sent a bright signal into the sky. A beacon, a location marker. They had been found. Evan looked down at Lumi, whose tiny eyes were full of fear. "It's okay," Evan whispered with a shaking voice. "I won't let them take you." But deep inside, he knew the truth. The chase had only begun, and the world was about to catch up to them. The beacon from the drone shot straight into the sky like a pillar of red light. It cut through the darkness, bright and sharp, calling every soldier, every drone, every search team toward Evan and Lumi. Evan felt the cold fear sink into his bones. He knew they had only seconds before the soldiers reached them. Lumi clung to his shirt, shaking violently. Its glow flickered in panic, growing dimmer with each passing second. "We have to move," Evan whispered, though he didn't know where to go anymore. The sound of engines roared through the forest. Drones swarmed above them like angry insects. Flashlights appeared far behind the trees, getting closer with every breath. Evan lifted Lumi and ran again, stumbling over roots and branches. The forest floor was hard to see in the dark, but he didn't stop. Lumi pressed its tiny forehead against his chest, trying to stay calm. A voice echoed from behind them through a megaphone. "Stop! You are entering a restricted zone. Do not run." Evan ignored it. He tightened his grip on the alien child and pushed forward. But the forest suddenly opened into a wide clearing, and there, waiting for them, were armed soldiers. Bright lights hit Evan's face. Guns pointed straight at him. The soldiers spread out, blocking every path. "Put the creature down!" One of them shouted. Lumi let out a terrified cry. Its entire body shrank into Evan's arms. Evan lifted his hand slightly, trying to protect the alien. "It's just a child," he shouted back. "It's hurt. It needs help." "That is not your concern," the officer replied coldly. "Hand it over immediately." Lumi's tiny fingers dug into Evan's shirt. Its glow dimmed almost completely. Evan could feel its body weakening. "No," Evan said firmly. "You won't take it. You'll hurt it. You don't even know what it is." The soldiers stepped closer. One raised a weapon, last warning. Evan slowly stepped backward. His legs shook, but he didn't let Lumi go. Then a loud hum filled the air. The soldiers looked up. The drones above flickered, their lights breaking. Some shook violently. A few even fell from the sky, crashing into the forest floor. That something else was interfering. Lumi's body glowed faintly again, but not with fear. With purpose. "Lumi, are you doing this?" Evan whispered. The alien child didn't answer. It closed its eyes and placed one tiny hand over the broken device it still carried. The device trembled in its palm, then lit up with a sharp, bright pulse. The pulse spread across the clearing like a wave of light. The soldiers staggered backward. Their scanners went dead. Their radios filled with static. Their weapons sparkled as if overloaded. Evan shielded Lumi from the bright pulse, but the alien child's glow only grew brighter and warmer. It was pouring all its remaining strength into the device, trying to call home. "Lumi, stop!" Evan pleaded. "You're too weak." But the alien kept going. The device cracked open. A beam of blue light shot into the sky, far brighter than the drone's signal. The air around them vibrated. The soldiers stared upward in shock. A massive shadow moved across the clouds. At first, Evan thought it was a storm. But then the shape broke through the darkness. A huge ship with flowing lights and silver wings, gliding silently above the forest. Lumi's people. They had finally found the signal. The soldiers panicked. "Fall back," one shouted. "Unknown aircraft approaching. Prepare defenses." But no human weapon mattered to what was now descending from the sky. The alien ship released a gentle, glowing beam, covering the entire clearing in soft blue light. The soldiers froze, unable to move forward. Their equipment shut down completely. Evan felt the warmth spread across his skin. Lumi's body glowed brighter and brighter, responding to the familiar energy. It reached a tiny hand to the sky, lowering the device at last. Its strength was almost gone. Evan knelt on the ground, holding the small alien close. "You did it," he whispered, his voice full of relief and fear mixed together. "They're here. You're going home." Lumi rested its head on his chest, breathing weakly. Its tiny glowing eyes lifted to look at him. A soft hum came from its throat, gentle, full of gratitude. But Evan could also feel how cold Lumi's tiny hands had become. The power it used to call the ship had drained almost everything left inside its small body. The alien ship descended lower. The forest lit up like day. A quiet, peaceful sound echoed from the ship, almost like a lullaby, calling Lumi home. But Lumi was slipping. Its glow flickered dangerously. Evan held it tighter. Stay with me, Lumi. They're here now. You're safe. The sound from above grew louder. Figures began to appear in the beam of light. They were coming to take Lumi. Lumi used its last bit of strength to touch Evan's face. A warm light passed between them, soft, comforting. Evan felt the meaning without words. Thank you. Then, Lumi's eyes slowly closed. The beam widened. The rescuers stepped forward, and Evan realized this moment would decide everything Lumi's life. Humanity's future and the fragile bond formed between two very different worlds. Van. Evan laughed. Close enough. Then Evan pointed to the alien and said, Lumi. The alien touched its glowing chest and repeated, Lu. Me. A real bond was forming, one that should not exist between a human and an alien. But it felt natural. It felt right. After some time, Lumi crawled toward the small broken device from the crash site. It placed its tiny hand on the cracked surface. The device hummed softly for a second, then faded again. You're trying to fix it? Evan asked. Lumi nodded slowly. Evan watched the alien child's face. There was sadness there. Maybe that device helped it communicate with its people. Maybe it was trying to call home. I'll help you, Evan said. Even though he didn't know how, Lumi looked up at him with hopeful eyes. It was a look that broke Evan's heart. Lumi had no one else. No family here. No protection except him. Suddenly, Lumi's glow flickered. Its eyes widened. It looked toward the window with fear. Evan followed its gaze and froze. Outside, above the forest, small red lights moved across the sky, slow, searching, scanning. Drones. The government must have detected something strange from the crash. They were scanning the area now. Evan closed the curtains quickly. Lumi crawled into his arms, shaking. Its glow dimmed almost completely. It's okay, Evan whispered. They won't find you. I promise. But inside, Evan felt a cold fear. If the government found Lumi, what would they do? Study it? Lock it away? Or worse? He held the alien child close, and Lumi pressed its glowing forehead against his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. The sound seemed to calm it. After the drones moved away, Evan checked outside again. The forest was quiet, but the danger was not gone. He returned to Lumi and sat beside it. Lumi slowly placed its small hand on Evan's chest. A soft light passed from the alien's fingers to his skin. It wasn't painful. It was warm, gentle, filled with emotion. Evan realized what Lumi was doing. It was showing trust. It was showing gratitude. The bond between human and alien grew deeper. Later in the day, Lumi tried to stand on its tiny feet. Evan held its arms to support it. Lumi wobbled like a toddler and made a proud chirping sound. Evan laughed. You're stronger today. But their peaceful moment broke again when Lumi's small device suddenly lit up, bright enough to fill the room. Evan jumped up. Lumi stared at the device in shock. The light flickered, then projected a small, glowing map into the air. A map of Earth. With one tiny point blinking over their exact town. Lumi's people might be searching. Or maybe the signal was going to the wrong hands. Evan's heart raced. Someone human or alien now knew their location. Lumi climbed into his arms again, scared. Evan held it tightly. We'll fix this, he whispered. I won't let anything happen to you. But deep inside, he knew things were about to get much more dangerous. The world was closing in. The bond between them was the only thing they could trust now. The map floating in the air slowly faded, and the small device fell silent again. But the damage was already done. Evan and Lumi stared at the spot where the glowing map had appeared. That moment changed everything. Someone, maybe Lumi's people, maybe humans, now had a clear signal of where Lumi was. Evan knelt down in front of the tiny alien child. Lumi, is someone coming for you? He asked softly. Lumi lowered its head and made a soft, sad hum. It didn't know. Or maybe it did know but couldn't explain in human words. Either way, fear was growing. Evan placed a gentle hand on Lumi's back. Don't worry. We'll deal with it together. But outside, the world was already waking up. By afternoon, people in the town were talking about strange lights in the sky. Some thought it was a meteor shower. Others said it was a military test. A few kids claimed they saw shiny creatures in the forest. But the adults laughed at them. Meanwhile, Evan sat in his house. Watching the news on TV, a reporter spoke in a serious voice. Unusual energy readings have been detected in the nearby forest. Government teams are investigating the area. Evan's stomach twisted. This was bad. Lumi crawled onto the couch beside him, pressing a tiny hand against his arm. Its glow was dimmer than before. Fear was weakening. Evan turned off the TV immediately. It's okay, he whispered. They don't know you're here. But even he didn't fully believe his own words. Later, loud engines echoed through the town. Evan looked out the window and saw large military trucks driving toward the forest. Soldiers stepped out, carrying strange equipment. They were scanning the ground, scanning the trees. Looking for something unusual. Looking for Lumi. Evan quickly closed the curtains. We need to keep you hidden, he said. Lumi nodded, trusting him completely. But then, a sudden knock at the door. Evan froze. The knock came again. Harder this time. Lumi crawled under the couch, trembling. Its soft glow disappeared completely as it tried to hide. Evan took a deep breath, walked to the door, and opened it just a crack. A tall man in a dark uniform stood outside. His eyes were sharp, scanning everything. Sir, he said, we're doing a routine check. We received reports of unusual activity nearby. Have you seen or heard anything strange last night? Evan forced a calm smile. Strange? No, not really. Just a loud noise. Like thunder. The officer narrowed his eyes. Thunder? On a clear night? Evan swallowed. Maybe a tree fell. I didn't go outside. The officer looked past Evan, trying to see inside the house. We might need to check your property, sir. Evan felt panic rise. He stepped forward slightly, blocking the doorway. Is that necessary? I haven't seen anything. For a few seconds, neither of them moved. Then the officer said, For now, we'll continue checking the area. But if you notice anything unusual, report it immediately. His voice was firm, almost threatening. Of course, Evan said, forcing a smile. The officer left. Evan closed the door and locked it quickly. His hands were shaking. He turned around and saw Lumi peeking from under the couch, its eyes wide with fear. Evan knelt down and lifted the tiny alien into his arms. It's okay, they didn't see you. Lumi held onto him tightly, its small body shaking. Later, as the sun began to set, strange humming sounds filled the air. Evan and Lumi looked out the small gap in the curtains. In the sky above the forest, a huge, glowing shape appeared for a moment before disappearing again. Lumi gasped, a tiny sharp sound. Its glow brightened and dimmed at the same time. Evan realized something important. Lumi recognized that shape. That's one of your people, isn't it? He whispered. Lumi nodded slowly, but then the glow in the sky faded. The ship moved away. It didn't land. It didn't rescue Lumi. Maybe the signal from the broken device wasn't strong enough. Maybe the search team didn't know the exact location, or maybe something more dangerous was happening. Back inside the house, Lumi walked slowly toward the broken device. It placed one hand on the cracked surface and closed its eyes. The device flickered weakly. Lumi tried again. Another weak flash. It wasn't working. Lumi let out a sad cry, quiet, but filled with pain. Evan quickly sat beside the alien and wrapped an arm around it. You'll get home, he whispered. I promise. I won't let anything bad happen. Outside, soldiers continued searching. Drones flew overhead. Lights swept across the forest. The world was beginning to notice, and Evan knew it wouldn't be long before someone came knocking again, not with questions, but with demands. Lumi looked up at him with frightened eyes. The bond between them grew even stronger. They would face whatever came next. Together, the night returned, darker than before. Evan kept all the lights in his house turned off. Only the soft glow from Lumi's tiny body lit the living room. The alien child sat close to Evan, clinging to his arm like it understood the danger outside. From far away, he heard the low rumble of engines. Soldiers were still searching the forest. Their scanners beeped softly in the distance. Drones flew across the sky like silent metal birds, moving slowly, searching for anything strange. Evan looked at Lumi. "They're getting closer," he whispered. Lumi pressed a small hand to its chest, worried. It leaned against Evan, trusting him fully. Evan wished he could promise everything would be okay, but he didn't know that anymore. Suddenly, a bright beam of light swept across his backyard. Evan jumped to the window and peeked through a tiny gap in the curtain. A drone hovered only a few meters above the ground. Its red sensor blinking. It was searching for energy signals, and Lumi glowed with energy. Evan quickly grabbed a dark blanket and wrapped it around the alien child. Lumi's glow disappeared completely under the cloth. "Stay close," he whispered, but then a sharp, loud beep filled the night. The drone had detected something. Evan didn't wait. He lifted Lumi into his arms and moved quickly toward the back door. The tiny alien clung to his shirt, terrified. Evan opened the door quietly, stepping out into the cold night air. The forest behind the house was dark, but it was the only place to hide. Branches cracked under his feet as Evan hurried deeper into the trees. Behind him, the drone's engines grew louder. It was following them. Evan breathed fast, his heart pounding. Lumi trembled against his chest. "It's okay," he whispered. "I've got you." But the drone wasn't alone. Evan heard soldiers shouting in the distance. "Signal detected. Move toward the north side." They were coming for Lumi. The night was quiet in the small town. Most people were inside their warm homes, drinking tea, watching TV, or getting ready for bed. The wind was soft, and the streets were empty. Nothing looked strange. Nothing felt dangerous. But the sky had a different plan. Suddenly, a bright blue light shot across the sky like a burning star. It moved fast, faster than anything the people had ever seen. Birds woke up and flew away in fear. Dogs began barking loudly. The houses shook for a moment, and then a deep boom echoed from the forest that stood just outside the town. Some people came out of their houses and looked around. They said it was probably just a meteor. Others thought it was thunder. But one man named Evan felt something different. He had a strong feeling in his chest that this was not a normal night. Something wanted to be found. Evan grabbed a flashlight and walked toward the forest. The air felt cold, and the leaves on the trees made a soft whispering sound. When he reached the entrance of the forest, he saw strange glowing marks on the ground, like something had crashed through the trees. The ground was warm, almost burning hot, even though the night was cool. His heart beat faster. But he kept going, step by step. Then he heard it, a soft, weak sound. Not human. Not animal. It was a tiny cry, full of fear and pain. It sounded like a baby calling for help, but also like something he had never heard before. Evan followed the sound carefully. The trees around him seemed to grow darker and thicker. His flashlight shook in his hand. When he pushed aside a small bush, he finally saw it. A tiny creature lay on the ground. It was small, no bigger than a human baby. Its skin glowed a faint silver blue. It had large, shiny eyes that were full of fear. Its body shivered softly, and it looked hurt, like it had been thrown from the sky. The creature tried to move away when it saw Evan, but it was too weak. It reached out a small hand, shaking, scared, and desperate. Evan froze. His mind raced. Was this real? Was this some kind of animal? Or was this something from another world? He took a gentle breath and knelt down slowly so the creature would not panic. The alien child blinked at him. Its breathing was fast and uneven. Evan could see that it was badly hurt. Its small chest rose and fell weakly, and its legs were trying to curl up in pain. For a moment, Evan did not know what to do. Most people would have run away. Some would have called the police or the military. But when Evan looked at the creature, he felt something strong inside his heart. Compassion. This was not a monster. This was not a threat. This was a child. Evan slowly reached out his hand. The alien child pulled back at first, frightened. But after a few seconds, it stopped resisting. It looked at Evan with wide, trembling eyes. And then, very slowly, it touched his hand with its tiny fingers. Its skin felt cold and soft. In that moment, Evan knew the creature was asking for help. He gently lifted the small alien into his arms. It made a soft sound of pain, but then relaxed against his chest, as if it finally felt safe. The glow from the alien's body brightened a little, like a weak light trying to stay alive. As Evan walked back through the forest, he heard strange noises behind him. The wind changed direction. The air felt heavy, like something big was searching for the alien child. But Evan held the tiny creature close and moved faster. He brought the alien home and wrapped it in a warm blanket. The creature looked up at him again, afraid, hurt, and alone. But now, for the first time since falling from the sky, the alien child felt a small spark of hope. Because a human had chosen compassion, because a human had chosen kindness instead of fear, and this was only the beginning of their story. Evan held the tiny alien close as he stepped into his warm house. His hands were shaking, not from fear, but from the heavy feeling that everything in his life had suddenly changed. He placed the alien gently on his couch, wrapped in the soft blanket. The creature looked so small, so fragile, like a lost baby bird that had fallen from its nest. The alien child stared up at Evan with wide, glowing eyes. It did not understand where it was, but it understood one thing clearly: this human had not hurt it. That alone made the alien breathe a little easier. Evan spoke softly, even though he knew the creature probably could not understand him. "It's okay. You're safe here. I won't let anything happen to you." The alien blinked slowly, as if trying to copy his calmness. Its glow flickered weakly. Evan could see the strange, thin lines on its body, almost like cracks, glowing softly where the skin had been injured. He hurried to the kitchen and returned with warm water and a small cloth. He sat down beside the tiny being and gently cleaned its wounds. The alien made a quiet, sharp sound at first, but then relaxed when the warm cloth soothed its skin. "You poor thing," Evan whispered. "What happened to you? Did you really fall from the sky?" Of course, there was no answer. But the alien watched his every movement with careful eyes, as if trying to learn what kind of creature this human was. As Evan worked, he noticed something strange. Whenever he touched the alien's skin gently, its glow brightened a little. It was almost like it responded to kindness itself. Perhaps that was its way of healing. Or perhaps it had never been shown kindness from a human before. After cleaning the injuries, Evan placed the alien back under the blanket. The creature made a soft chirping sound, high and gentle, as if saying thank you. Evan smiled. "Maybe I should give you a name," he said. The alien tilted its head. "You look like a small light, maybe." "Lumi." The alien blinked twice. A tiny glow pulsed from its chest, brighter than before. Evan laughed quietly. "Lumi it is." For a few minutes, Lumi simply rested. Its breathing became steady, and it looked less scared. But when Evan stood up, Lumi reached out its tiny hand, grabbing the edge of Evan's sleeve. It did not want him to leave. It did not want to be alone again. So Evan stayed. He sat beside the couch and let Lumi hold his finger with its tiny hand. The warmth between them did not feel strange anymore. It felt natural, human, gentle. But outside the house, the world was changing. Far above in the night sky, strange lights appeared, small, blinking, moving in patterns that no human aircraft could follow. Evan noticed them through the window. His heart tensed. He had no doubt those lights were searching for something. Or someone. Evan closed the curtains quickly and locked the door. He returned to Lumi, who now looked worried again. Its small body curled up and its glow dimmed. "It's okay," Evan whispered, stroking its head gently. "Nobody will find you here. I'll protect you." Lumi relaxed again, trusting him without question. As the night grew deeper, Evan noticed something near Lumi's blanket, a small metal device, round and cracked, glowing faintly. Maybe it had fallen from the crash site. Maybe it was important. Lumi tried to reach for it, but its hands were weak. Evan picked the device up and handed it to the alien. Lumi pressed its tiny fingers on the surface. The device flickered, then went dark again. Lumi let out a sad, tired sound, like it wanted the device to work but couldn't fix it. "Don't worry," Evan said. "We'll figure it out later." Hours passed and Lumi slowly fell asleep, wrapped in the blanket like a tiny glowing baby. Evan sat beside it the whole time, knowing that if he left, Lumi might wake up scared. But as he sat there, one thought kept returning to him. What was he going to do now? He had an alien child in his house. The sky was filled with strange, searching lights. And he knew the government would not ignore a crash like the one that happened tonight. Still, when he looked at Lumi sleeping peacefully, he felt no regret. He only felt a deep responsibility. A child alien or not deserved protection, and he had already made his choice. He would not abandon Lumi, because sometimes humanity is not about being strong. It is about choosing kindness, even when the world might not understand. Morning sunlight touched the edge of Evan's window, and soft warm light spread across the room. Evan had barely slept. He spent most of the night watching over Lumi, the tiny alien child who had fallen from the sky. Lumi slept peacefully now, wrapped in the blanket, glowing softly like a dim night lamp. Evan sat on the nearby chair, rubbing his tired eyes. He still could not believe this was real. There, in his own house, lay a creature from another world. A creature who trusted him. When Lumi finally opened its large, silver blue eyes, it blinked slowly, as if confused. But when it saw Evan, its glow brightened. It remembered him. It remembered the kindness. "Good morning," Evan said gently. Lumi made a small chirping sound and tried to sit up. Evan quickly supported its tiny back so it wouldn't fall. Lumi's body was still weak, but it was stronger than yesterday. "Are you hungry?" Evan asked, not sure what aliens even ate. Lumi tilted its head, watching his face carefully. Evan brought a small bowl of fruit pieces, soft apple slices, and berries. Lumi sniffed them and then picked up a tiny piece of apple with both hands. It tasted it carefully, then made a happy humming sound. Evan smiled. "So you like that?" After eating, Lumi crawled into Evan's lap like a small child. Its soft glow spread across his hands. Evan felt a strange mix of protectiveness and wonder. This creature was not human, yet it acted like any scared and lonely child that needed warmth. As the morning continued, Evan began noticing something special. Lumi was studying everything. It watched his hands, his movements, even the way he breathed. It was learning fast. When Evan pointed to his chest and said, "Evan," Lumi copied the sound in its small musical voice.